So we're going to be writing linear equations. That's our whole test. There are going to be 25 questions total, 5 challenge questions worth 4 points each. Remember that there's always going to be 5 that you're allowed to skip. They will be on the backboard. And I'll go over that again at the end, but just a quick reminder. There are going to be 2 questions on direct variation, one in which you are identifying if it is a direct variation problem, and one which will be a word problem, and you have to write a direct variation problem. So, for example, here it says, does the equation y equals 3x represent a direct variation equation? If so, state k. So yes, because direct variation is in the form of y equals kx, where k is your constant rate of change or slope. And in that case, it is in that form. How about this equation, like y equals x over 5? Is that in that form? What's in front of x? 1, right? And so I could rewrite this as y equals 1 over 5x, right? So would this be a direct variation equation? Yes. Okay, so keep that in mind. Even if there's a fraction, it can still be direct variation. So this one says the volume of a tank varies directly. So you know it's a direct variation equation because it says varies directly with its height. So that means that volume is volume is y and height is x. A tank, x, 15 feet, holds 450 cubic feet. So that's going to be your y. Write an equation that relates to this. So if I'm taking my equation, y equals kx, I'm going to substitute in my x and my y, and I need to find k. Okay, so my y is going to be 450 equals k times x, which is 15. So I'm going to get 450 equals 15k. Divide by 15, and k equals 30. So if I write my equation, it would be y equals 30x. And the key word is that it varies directly. Okay, so the first one's going to be y, and the second one's going to be x. And I believe that your question is very similar to that word problem. I think it even has a fish tank or something. So, with cubic feet and height. There are going to be 7 questions on slope-intercept form. So this is our largest portion of the test. So that being said, remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where you need to have m, your slope, and b, your y-intercept. And in order to find slope, m, we can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or if it's a graph, we do rise over run. So there will be 2 questions which they give you the m and a point, and you have to write the equation. So you have to find b. There are going to be 2 questions in which they give you 2 points, so you're going to have to find m and b. And then there's going to be one where they give you the graph, so you're going to have to do rise over run to find m. They might give you b as the y-intercept. It might be a point. So then you just need to identify where the point is for that. Or you might have to substitute in your slope and a point in order to find b if it's not a perfect intersecting point. And then 2 word problems. There's an example of the word problem on the next slide that we will go over. So in this first one, it says write an equation of a horizontal line. So a horizontal line is always y equals a number, and whatever the y value is. So in this case, y equals -3. If they said write an equation of a vertical line, what would it be? X equals a number, and what is my x value here? 1, so it would be x equals 1, okay? The next one here says write an equation of the line that passes through the points 0, 8 and 2, 6. So I need to find my slope. So I need to find m. So M is y2, 6 minus 8 over 2 minus 0, which is negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. Now I need to find b. If I was observant, I can notice that they already gave me b because they gave me my y-intercept. But if I'm not observant, I just need to substitute those values in for x and y and find b. So y would be 8. M is negative 1 times 0 plus b. I need to find b. So that's going to be 0 plus b, which is 8 is b. So then our equation is y equals negative 1, or just negative x, plus 8. Alright, so if we are having a word problem with this, this one says Sandy removes $50 from her bank account each week. So she's removing $50 each week. So that's a constant thing that's changing, or a constant thing that's being removed. So that's going to be my M. And it's removed, so it's going to be negative. So M equals negative 50. Okay, after 15 weeks, then they're giving me an X value there because remember that time is always independent. She has $1,150 in her account, so that would be a point. 15, 1,150. Okay. Write a linear equation that models the amount of money in her account. So we need to find B. We got an M, we got a point, we need to find B. So we're going to use our equation y equals mx plus b and substitute the information that I do know. So I have 1,150 equals m negative 50 times x, which is 15. I don't know b. Negative 50 times 15 is going to give me negative 750. I'm going to add 750 to both sides, and I get 1,900 or 1,900. So now that I know m and I know b, I can write my equation y equals mx plus b, which is y equals negative 50x plus 1,900. Again, this one is extremely similar to the question on the test. A man is taking out money out of his bank account, so that means that it's going to be negative, okay? That's why it's very important to use these notes in your test. And they go in the exact same order, too. Like, yeah, the beginning, the first slide of the variation are the first 2 questions of the test, and then the next 7 questions are this stuff. So yeah. Okay, so our next topic is point slope form. There will be 2 questions on point slope form. So if you do not remember, point slope form is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1, where you're substituting in values for y1, m, and x1. So in this equation here, it says write a line in point slope form for the points -2, -3, and the 4, 1, using 4, 1 as the point in the equation. So they gave me 2 points, so I need to find slope. I mean, it's called point slope form for a reason, because you need a point and you need slope. So I'm going to use my equation m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to find my slope. So that's going to be 1 minus negative 3 over 4 minus negative 2, which is also the same thing as plus. So that's going to be 4 over 6, which reduces to 2 over 3. Now that I know m, I'm going to substitute in the point that they tell me to substitute in into my equation. So y minus 1 equals m 2/3 x minus the x value, and that's it. Easy peasy. You tell us to use this point. In point slope form, you need 2 things. A point and slope. You substitute in a point and a slope, and you're good to go. So the one question, this one should be really easy. Yes.
Will we be given the point, or we have to choose?
I can't remember, I'll let you know. I think that they give it to you. I mean, they'll give you, if they don't, it's gonna be 2 options. And either would be right, okay? If I remember to look, I'll look though. All right, so there will be 4 questions on standard form. One question where you're writing a line in standard form from slope-intercept form, so like that first question there, which we're going to go over. One where you're given a slope and a point, and you either can put it into y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form, or point-slope form. I like point-slope form because you substitute in, and then it's like, ta-da, and then you just have to get it into the correct form. One which you have 2 points, so then you have to find your m, and then one word problem. So again, standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, c are numbers, and a cannot be negative. What else can we not have in standard form? Fractions and decimals. So a cannot be negative, you cannot have fractions or decimals. So looking at this first one here, I'm given the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 3. I need to get this into my standard form, so I'm going to eliminate the fraction first. I'm just getting rid of it, so I don't have to worry about it later on. So in order to get rid of a fraction, we multiply everything by the least common denominator. So in this case, 2. So 2 times y would be 2y. 2 times 1/2 would be 1, so just x. And 2 times, plus 6. I'm going to subtract x from both sides, leaving me negative x plus 2y equals 6. However, I cannot have a negative out front. A cannot be negative. So I need to multiply everything by negative 1. So that's going to give me positive x, which that's the goal, negative 2y equals negative 6. And then that is it in standard form. So here they give me a point and slope. So if they give you a point and slope, I'm going to put it in point slope form first. You can put it into slope intercept form, but then you have to find b, and I feel like that's an extra step. So if they give you the point and they give you slope, might as well use this one, unless they give you the y-intercept. So y minus y1, so negative 5, equals m, 1, times x minus x1, 4. Okay, I'm going to distribute and make this not negative negative, so it's positive, and then x minus 4. subtract x from both sides, and I'm gonna subtract 5 from both sides. So I'm gonna get negative x plus y equals negative 9. However, I can't have a negative out front, so I need to multiply everything by negative 1, right? So that was gonna be x minus y equals 9, which is my answer. I hope I didn't confuse you by doing 2 steps at once here. These cancel out, those cancel out. So that is 4 questions on standard form. Our second largest topic, but it's also tied with arithmetic sequence, so I guess let's try for second and third. Then there's going to be 3 questions on parallel and perpendicular lines. So in order to have a parallel or perpendicular line, the thing you need to identify or find first is the slope. Find M. Because if they are parallel, the slopes are the same. If they are perpendicular, the slopes are the opposite sign and the reciprocal. So there's going to be one question which you just have to identify if they are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So in this example here, we are given the equation y equals x plus 1 and x plus y equals 6. And it's asking if they are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So I need to find m. So in this first equation, m is 1. This isn't in slope-intercept form, so I don't know m. So I'd have to subtract x, which I'll get y equals negative x plus 6. So what is my m here? M. 6 is my y-intercept. Negative 1. And so are they, first thing, are they opposite signs? Yes. So, and is 1 the reciprocal of 1? Yes, 1 over 1 is 1, and if you flip it, it's still 1 over 1. So these are perpendicular. This one's asking us to write an equation of a line that is parallel to y equals 3x minus 4 through the point negative 8, 1. So again, I need to find my slope. So in parallel, the slopes are the same. So my slope in this equation is 3. And I'm given the point negative 8, 1. You are not using this b. Because if you use this b, then it's the exact same equation, which that means it's not parallel, it's the same line. So I need to find a new b. So I'm going to substitute an m in my point, and I'm going to find b. So I'm going to take my equation y equals mx plus b, substitute in a y, which is 1, an m, which is 3, and x, which is negative 8, plus b, because I don't know b. So y equals negative 24 plus b, add 24, b equals 25. So now that I know m and b, I can write my equation. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals 3x plus 25. Alright, there are going to be 3 questions on a line of best fit or fitting the data. 2 questions that are just asking what type of correlation is it? Is it positive, is it negative, or is it no? Okay, those should be like the easiest questions in the entire world. So what is this one?
Positive.
Positive. There's going to be 1 question that's asking you to write a line of best fit. It's going to give you a scattered plot. Kind of similar to this one, but a lot neater. Okay? It's literally just going to be dots. almost linear dots too. You need to find the slope. Once you find the slope, you can probably, it's a multiple choice question, so you can probably find which equation it is. So just make sure that all of your equations in y equals mx plus b, okay? And then, so that's it. It's not like how the homework was for the line investment where everyone's answers can be different. On this one, it's a multiple choice question. The points are very linear almost, so it will be nice. It's either going to be positive or negative. Yeah, let's see. Then there are going to be 4 questions in the arithmetic sequence. I did go over this at the start of class, but I'll go over it again. There's going to be 1 question which you just have to find the common difference, D. 1 question which you're writing the explicit rule. 1 question which you're finding the first 5 terms using the recursive rule. And 1 question in which you are writing a recursive rule. So let's do all of these. Well, other than finding the first 5 terms, because we can find the 5th term. So what is my D, my common difference? 6. Because it's going down by 6. Make sure you include that negative. Okay? Then when we're doing explicit, I'll do that one first. So explicit. So my equation again is AN equals A1 plus N minus 1 times D. I'm not expecting you guys to remember this rule right now. That's why you're allowed to use your notes. So make sure you write it down. Okay? So I'm going to substitute in A1 and D, what is A1? 8, right? It's the first equation, or first number. So AN equals 8 plus N minus 1 times D, which we just determined is negative 6. So AN is going to equal 8 minus 6N plus 6. And 8 plus 6 is 14. So AN equals negative 6N plus 14. So that is explicit. For recursive, it's extremely, 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 extremely important that you include A1. If you do not include A1, you will get the problem incorrect because otherwise you can't solve. So if A1 in this case, even if it's there, it's just there, but you have to restate it, okay? A1 is 8, and then all that for recursive rule is the equation is AN equals A sub N1 plus D. So all I have to do is substitute in D. That's it. And tell me what A1 is. So AN equals AN minus 1 minus 6. So that is my recursive rule. And then if I was trying to find the first 5 terms, which they already gave us 1 through 4, but let's just say that they didn't, or you're going to do the same thing, I need to substitute in my previous term into my equation to find the next term. So to find the 5th term here, I'd have to substitute in negative 10. So negative 10 minus 6 is negative 16. Does that make sense? And then you do the same thing for the next term if it was not these numbers. Okay?